How long you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling since as long as I can remember, 5, 6 years old. Yep. So since kindergarten, first grade, I started.
Yeah. What program did you come up through?
I was at Team Erie Vipers through all the way up until middle school. Then I started wrestling with Cathedral Prep. Then my freestyle, which is where I All-American in high school in freestyle wrestling. That's where I got that. And I wrestled with Bad Karma Wrestling Club. And I wrestled with a few different clubs, but like my main club was Bad Karma coming up. And then, yeah, that's what I came up through. Then I went to going to Iowa State now.
Normally, guys that wrestle, they kind of like juggled football too. Did you have a little football in there?
Yeah, I played football. I started wrestling, and then the first off season was football season for me. So since I was young there too, and I played football all the way up until about 10th grade.
Yeah.
I played my freshman year. I played my sophomore year, but then I remember coming out of the Fargo tournament in high school, and I was double All-American there, and I wrestled. I almost broke a record for wrestling 24 matches in 3 days or something, and it was crazy because the brackets was it started around at 256, and I ended up taking a bad loss early, and then I win 12 matches in a row, and I wrestled people who's still good today, NCAA champs, world champs, all through that bracket. I beat a lot of good guys through there, and then I just remember after the tournament, my eye was super bust open, lip was split, my shoulders, my knees I bust my bursa sac on both my knees and stuff, and the football coach kept calling me "Oh, you gotta come to practice." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get there. I just got done here." Like you said, after the tournament, or after this the last freestyle tournament, you gonna come? I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come." And then
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to come. Then he all right, even if you don't come, you gotta watch. And I'm just like, you know what? I need a break, man.
Right.
I've been going nonstop since first grade, no break ever, And I was just like, I'm gonna give myself at least a month to rest, and then I stopped playing football. I sometimes wish I still played a little bit just because it was fun, but it probably was what was best for me to stop at that time,
Yeah. I played a lot of sports. Basketball ended up being, my number one sport, the love of my life. I wrestled, I played football, I ran track. Wrestling by far, was the most rigorous. How was you able to program yourself to do this at such a young age and shit?
See, I feel like the biggest difference when we was young, for me, I feel like it's a lot harder now. When we was young, and for everybody when it was young, it was harder for them then, but the biggest difference was when we was young, my uncle, Russ, he got me into wrestling. And the biggest difference for me and everybody else he was bringing with, he got a lot of us in. More of my friends, my cousins, because his kids, and he'd pull us all in there, and I feel like the biggest difference for me was, I feel like a lot of people was feeling like they had to do it, and me, even the practice. Everybody wanted to go to the tournament. It was fun then,
Yeah.
Even in practice, that was just I was looking forward to that part of the day every day,
Right.
And it was hard and stuff, but, I loved it always. And I remember when it was in tournaments and kids would get double bracketed. Even now, people be like, don't double bracket your kids. That's going to burn them out of the sport or something, you know what I mean? Because, it's hard. I remember always asking my uncle, can I please get double bracketed? I was 10, I wanted to be a 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 bracket,
Yeah.
So bad, and nobody else wanted to do that. Nobody
That
was
says a lot
around.
about you.
And I feel like I had a different drive. It was always fun to me. I feel like that helped. And then, this sport is hard, And I never met a wrestler who wrestled, long and never ran into any point where it's I don't feel like I don't want to do this no more, And
Yeah.
I had that before, too, but wrestling, man, it's a part of me now. It's, even when I'm done, I feel like I'm still... I feel like my job probably gonna end up something, fighting, wrestling, grappling,
Yeah.
coaching, something, So, it's a part of me. And even to this day, I feel like wrestling is the hardest sport, period, because it don't matter if you good, bad. Like, it's going to be hard regardless. If you wrestle for 10 years or you just your first year wrestling, like, the sport going to be hard. You could be the best in the world and never lose. It's still going to be hard. You know what I mean? So, and you could be the worst. It's still going to be hard. So, it's like.
How old were you? And this could apply to something that you started to understand as an adult. But how old were you when you started to understand Pennsylvania's position in the wrestling landscape?
Probably when I was about, I would say like middle school, because in wrestling, and this was the biggest thing that made me see it. It was like, we was on these team PA teams, so it was like a team. It was like, hey, you kind of like basketball, and it'd be all the best PA kids that put us on one team, and we go to these big tournaments, and it's like you go against a different state, and they got all their best kids. And we'll have Team PA Gold, Team PA Silver, Team PA Bronze, so we'll have all of them. And before even, so the first thing that made me notice is like, we'll be wrestling, say, North Carolina, and we blank them, 60-0. Then we wrestle a different Minnesota who decent, and it's like we all looking like if somebody got a close match. It's like, oh, you almost lost to somebody from Minnesota, bro. Like they like, yeah, he a 4-time state champ, like this and that, and we like, no way you lose to somebody from there. I remember having a close match, and I was like 7th or 8th grade. We was wrestling North Carolina, and I had to go to overtime. And my like when we was young, I was trying to tag and pin everybody. I wanted the OW, and I just remember thinking like, no way I'm in a close match with a dude from on the team North Carolina. And that guy, he ended up being from like either Pennsylvania or Iowa though, but like he moved down to North Carolina to wrestle. And this we 8th grade. Right. And then the second step made me notice it is like we go in and it's like 40 out of the 50 states is in this tournament with their best kids, and it's like the finals in the tournament is Team PA Gold versus Team PA Silver. Like, so our second team blew everybody out too, you know? So it's just like, it was just like, I started realizing like, all right, we're the best people. But at the end, it never really mattered because I wanted to be the best in like everywhere. Naturally, so I wanted to be the best in the country. I wanted to be nobody anywhere who could beat me. Right. You know, so I was just like, the state title, this is how crazy it was. A Fargo title is like the biggest thing you do in like high school wrestling because I wanted to win a state title more than I wanted to win a Fargo title. And this, another thing, Fargo title, the biggest tournament you could go to in high school freestyle wrestling, like the biggest. Every country, every state there, 49 out of 50 states compete at Fargo. Right. Boys, girls, and it's the biggest bracket you get in. I took 5th at the PA State tournament. My sophomore year. And then 2 months later, I wrestled in a Fargo tournament. I took 3rd and 3rd. And that's with all the nationally ranked people. Is like, out of the top 20, it was like 12 of them or 13 of them in my bracket was nationally ranked. Yeah. And I took 3rd in that bracket. Yeah. And they like, what the heck? You ain't even make the finals in Pennsylvania? And I was
let me ask you something. So basically what you're saying is kind of like our interstate competition is more competitive than the national level?
I wouldn't say competitive, but definitely is way harder than any other individual state because ours is so compact, you know? So it's like, my state bracket my senior year, so if it's a Fargo bracket, it's 100 people, and you got 10 of them ranked, all right, you could dodge, you could get put in a good spot to where, all right, you make it, now you 3rd, you know? Yeah. I got ranked 6th in the country after that tournament. Right. But at the PA State tournament, say my senior year, I was ranked 3rd in the state and 4th in the country at one point. Right. And I didn't get upset. I had the number 1 guy in the country in my bracket also. I had the number 3 guy in my bracket. I was ranked 4th at one point, and then the guy I wrestled for 3rd and 4th was ranked 9th in the country, you know? Yeah. And it's like, it's nowhere you can hide. You can't hide. Like, you know? That's why, like, some people in PA kind of, like, they won't wrestle no tournaments and then place high in the state tournament, and now they're nationally ranked. And, like, other states complain about that. Like, this dude didn't wrestle nobody but him, you know? Yeah. And you can complain if you want, but it's like that for, like, PA, I feel like it's dominant in combat sports, like boxing too, you know? But that's what we're good at, combat sports. Like Florida, Texas, they like good at football and things like that. You know, so everywhere, like every state, like a lot of states got their sports they good at. Like Indiana, like swimming or something is like super good or something. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, we got the best coaches because it's already here. The best, like it's like that. Pennsylvania, right. Like even like Penn State, they in Pennsylvania, they the best in college right now. You know.
Yeah.
So things like that. I seen it and then it didn't really have a big effect on me because I always wanted to be the best of the best anyway. Yeah. You know.
Outside of Pennsylvania having an identity for wrestling, did you start to notice that Erie had a particular reputation too?
I didn't notice that until like it was in myself. Like once we got to college and I'm like, and it's like, oh yeah, that was my teammate. They're like, wait, what? He was your teammate? Then I'm like, yeah. Then the next dual match we watching and I'm like, oh yeah, that's my teammate too. They're like your high school team? I'm like, yeah. Then another one come up. We watching a freestyle tournament. It's girls. I'm like, oh yeah, those two girls is on my club team. Yeah. They like, what? Like all these people you was on the team with? And I'm like, yeah, you know, like we got Carter Starocci, obviously 5-time NCAA champ. Jacob Van D, just All-American. He was on my team. Kamen Smith was a D1 starter. He was on my team, you know. So we had Dorian Crosby. He was on my team. He was an NCAA qualifier. Kawan DeBoa. We had some really good D2 guys too, and these was all kids who we grew. Oh, Dejor Cap Cheese. Yeah. He was on my team. He beat real good dudes. So, and it's not even. Oh, this is just the people I was on the team with. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah. And at the moment, we don't realize how hard this is to do. But it's like, I go all these other places, and it's like, they like what? So, and I'm like, yeah, all these people was on my team at the same time. Yeah. We didn't even win a state title. You know, and it's right. That's crazy to think, you know. But, yeah, that's kind of like that PA thing you kind of think again because it's like we all stacked up in such a little area. And I feel like the only good thing about it is it's easier to get noticed, you know. Yeah. They looking at us first. You got more opportunities to beat this national ranked dude. Now, say I'm in, I don't know, Missouri or something, and if you take third in Missouri, you're not don't go in D1 to, well, you might, but like, it's real hard then, you know what I mean? I could take third in Pennsylvania and they could be like, you getting as many offers as a 4-time state champ from somewhere else, you know?
No doubt. Tell my viewers about the high school that you attended and how it's a sports powerhouse, basically. All sports.
Yeah, Cathedral Prep here is a powerhouse in everything. When I was there, I would say that it was kind of weird because like our wrestling team, while I was there, was probably our best team. But while I was there, the basketball team won a state title. The football team won multiple state titles. Our soccer team won a state title, I think the year after I left or something. Our golf team won a state title either when I was there or the year after I left. And like, it was kind of weird if you went to the school and you wasn't playing a sport or you wasn't, you know. And I remember the guys who wasn't, but like, it was like everybody was doing something.
Is there actually students that go there that don't play sports?
It is. And it's even something that I'm like, bro, you could be super good at this, right? This is one guy who was like, he went to our school and he was probably the only black guy in the school that didn't play a sport, to be honest. But it was crazy because he was like 6'3", 6'4", maybe 200. It was just like, or bigger than that. He was big, but his and athletic. Like he played basketball with us, playing around and stuff. Yeah. But like, it was kind of weird. I feel like his biggest thing was like he was thinking about playing football, but you know, you watch football all the time. He wanted to be one of the stars. Be like, bro, we need you on the line, bro. Like, you'll be good. He like, nah, I want to play wide receiver. Come on, bro. You gotta play wide receiver. Right. You gotta play on the line right now, like, right. You know. So it is people there, and that school, it was always good. And it was like, that's kind of the school. So, like, it's private school, so, you know, people like, oh, they recruiting that. It was reverse recruiting for me because I was thinking that's the only school in the area where people could get out and doing good, you know? So it's like, I love Erie. I love Erie High and all that because, you know, it was new, but, like, I go there, I might know more than the people trying to teach me things, you know what I mean? And I was good, but I wasn't good enough, you know?
Right.
So I had to, like, for mostly all the sports, where you want to be the best at, you almost got to go there, you know? There's
Right.
other schools that's good at other sports, too. Like, yeah, they don't beat everybody every time, you know?
Right.
So there's still room for improvement. But at that time, like, we were good at wrestling, and anybody who was trying to be good at wrestling went there, you know?
Did you learn anything that was more advanced at Cathedral Prep than you had learned during Junior Olympics?
Like, when I was, like, 8th grade and younger.
Yeah. Like when you was on the local club. Or by the time you get to prep, you already.
No, I knew a lot, but, like, I'm always learning, man. Like, when I left prep in college, I learned so much more new things. And it's weird because it'd be, like, real little things that makes the biggest of difference, you know? Like, you shoot the single A and you gotta have your head here instead of here. And it's like, well, yeah, I learned a little tweak. And then where to place your hands at when you hand fighting. And, you know, it's little tweaks. How to, you want your first contact to be pushing first or something, you know? So it's real little things. And I feel like I always learn. So, like, I definitely for sure knew more my senior year than I did my freshman year. So, yeah, I definitely learned a lot and refined my techniques a lot.
No doubt. Let's talk about butterflies. When I wrestled, I had butterflies before every match. Did butterflies ever affect you throughout your career?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I just give it a different name, butterflies or whatever. But I feel like, for me, it was always good for me because, one, I learned that people say, nerves, all that mean is it's important to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you ain't care, you would not be nervous at all. You know? It's like, so nerves is that mean it's important to you and it mean a lot to you. So, yeah, I get there every time still. In college, every match important. So, like, it's a part of it now. It's not like, I would be more worried if I wasn't, like, a little nervous or you know? And that's why I feel like, especially in college, it's kind of weird. I'd be a little inconsistent sometimes, but, like, when I wrestle somebody ranked ahead of me or anything, I always do better. I think I only lost one match ever in my college career where the guy was ranked ahead of me, beat me. And it was one time in overtime against a 4-time NCAA champ, you know?
So them dudes with the higher rankings, they bring out the best in you.
Yeah, I never lost to somebody who was ranked ahead of me in my college career yet, except for one time in overtime to a 4-time NCAA champ. And with that being said, I feel like I should have never lost at all, you know, because it's less nerves, and once you start to get a little comfortable, a little relaxed, and you feel like you're supposed to win and things supposed to go your way, that's when everything go wrong right away, you know? So,
Who's your nemesis?
My mind is my nemesis, you know, so I feel like my greatest asset and my worst asset is my mind sometimes, you know? And I just got to get over that. Like, I got my goals on my locker, and after the tournament, I ripped them all down, and I said all I wanted to say 2026 national champ. You know, so for that's next year I want to be the national champ, and the key to doing that for me is I put the only other goal on there was master the mind. You know what I mean?
No, that's crazy.
Because my mind is what I feel like I gotta just attack more, and it's just things that's like in your head, you know. I know I'm prepared, and I gotta make sure I leave everything out there every time, you know. If once you hold things, you hold back a little, that's when you get got, you know. And at this high level, like, the difference is 1 point, man. It's 1 point, so you gotta be sharp in the head. So I feel like all the times I lose, I go back, and it's like, it's never that I wasn't strong enough and I wasn't fast enough. and things like that. It's usually always like I made this little mistake.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I didn't shoot when the things was way open to shoot. I would have shot that any other time other than that time, you know. So just really believing in, and you gotta have full trust in yourself, you know.
Yeah.
So when I get that, I get over my mind completely. I feel like I could be the best in the world, but until then, you know, I gotta keep working on my mind.
I love your mindset, and I love that you rely on that. That question was based on something that I seen a journalist, sports journalist, ask Kobe Bryant, who was somebody who defended him well, and he named this guy named Tony Allen. Tony Allen ended up being like a defensive player of the year. He probably one of the few times. And I know from wrestling, especially in like the junior Olympic sector, through certain tournaments, especially locally, you end up wrestling a guy over and over and over and over. So it wasn't nobody particular that you used to have to lock horns with on a regular?
I say every year it get a little different, you know. And in my head, the only people that I create them Nemesis is after a guy beat me. Then I'm like, that's the guy. That's the guy, you know.
Yeah.
And like this year I was undefeated for a long time at my weight class, and then I wrestled a guy from UNI who was pretty good, but you know, I feel like I should have won, and I kind of got tired. It was in the arena. I let the crowd, like my mind kind of gave up the match for me. I let the crowd, I let the ref, I let everything else play a factor into the match, and the guy, you know, ended up getting me in overtime. I got hit with like all these stall calls and stuff who gave him all these points, and he got me in overtime and didn't. Like right there in that moment, my biggest thing was I gotta get to wrestle him again so I can beat him.
Yeah.
And I beat him in the Big 12 championship finals. The same thing happened my freshman year, was going against Missouri, the crowd all into it, overtime again, and I keep coming and just not enough. Boom, guy rolled me in overtime, get pinned. And I'm just like, this can't happen. 2 weeks later, Big 12 championship, I beat him in the Big 12 finals again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't say those are my nemesis or anything like that. I just say those are just the guys that I knew I was going to have to beat to get where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And then I don't really know. I not a lot of guys beat me without me beating them. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Me being, you know, loosely familiar with wrestling, you kind of, the university that you attend, that's kind of like the Duke Blue Devils or some shit of wrestling and shit, like Iowa State. Tell my viewers the expectations of wrestling for such a revered program.
Yeah, Iowa State, they got some history. I think they got I'm pretty sure third most NCAA championships, third or fourth. I know the top four is Okie State, Iowa State, and Penn State for most NCAA championships. And so yeah, we good. We got probably arguably one of the best wrestlers ever who wrestled there. Coach for Penn State now, and he's the only undefeated wrestler in college ever. You know, he never lost. 159 on Kel Sanderson, who coaches probably the only other person that could put up an argument for the other best, which was a 5-time NCAA champ Carter Starocci. So, like, that dude was never lost, and then he coached the first person to ever win 5 NCAA championships.
Yeah.
He came from Iowa State. Dan Gable only lost 1 match in college, wrestled at Iowa State. He ended up coaching at Iowa. He created the dynasty. Kel Sanderson coaching at Penn State right now. He in the middle of his dynasty right now. They both came from there. And then just the history, like the Carrs from Erie, Nate Carr,
Yeah.
he wrestled for Iowa State, won 3 NCAA titles. His son wrestled for Iowa State, won 2 NCAA titles. You know, his son David, that's one of my practice partners. I practice with every day. I'm gonna go to his wedding in a couple months here. So,
Yeah.
like, we real close, and it's just like the expectation is high always. You know, nobody on the, like, if you making a lineup, you thinking like you trying to be either All-American or NCAA champ, you know, or, you know, and I just feel like they kind of put in your head, like, it's never, you never the underdog. You know,
Right.
you supposed to always feel like you the guy. You know, and it's hard. The air is thin, man. It can get scary, especially nowadays. It's that transfer portal open, you know, and it's like it's so much guys at my weight who is, you know, a 1 point difference. You know, these guys is good. All Americans at my weight, and Big 12 champs at my weight, below my weight, above my weight. You know, and we go to war every day, and you can never take a break because somebody gonna pass you. You know,
Right.
so.
Okay. You kind of opened up one of my next questions. Tell my viewers who the Carr family was, who they are. Tell them what's your understanding of who the Carr family are, and maybe some history on the Carr family.
I know a lot about the Carr family. I know that's from Erie, and they're all really, really good. Jimmy Carr, I believe at the time was the youngest Olympian on our wrestling team. Nate Carr, and then I know a lot more about Nate Carr. Nate Carr, he Jimmy, Nate, and all of them, they all won Pennsylvania state titles and things like that. But Nate Carr went to Iowa State. He won 3 NCAA titles, and that's hard to do.
Right.
And he probably had a nemesis who was Kenny Monday, yeah. And like,
Oh wow, I never knew that.
yeah, they wrestled in the NCAA finals.
I never knew that because
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you next. What was it like to start encountering a lot of black wrestlers? Because
Yeah.
when you out here in Pennsylvania, it's not like that, is it?
Yeah, it's not. It was. I feel like it's growing more and more, and it's kind of like, cause like it's kind of like who you look up to. You know, everybody I see is like, oh, basketball or football. You know,
Yeah.
them the only options that you think. You know, and I started wrestling, and it's like I feel like it's growing in our city now because you look up and you see the guys from our city, and we doing okay for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times people look at straight the end goal. When I started wrestling, there's money in it now because NIL in college, you could get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
6-figure, 7-figure checks and stuff like that. So it's different now. But when I first started, the end goal, people were like, why would you wrestle instead of play football? Like, how you going to make money? And I'm just thinking like, I don't know. You have fight after, I guess. You know, so it's just like, fight, coach, like those are things. And at the time, I was like, the only thing it could do is get you to college, you know.
Is
so
that something? Is the UFC thing? Is that something that's attracting wrestlers now?
yeah, I feel like a lot of wrestlers that's on their radar. You know, it's like that's like the NFL now. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
like,
for wrestlers.
yeah,
UFC?
kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Because wrestling is the most dominant like base you can have in UFC. Like, I'm pretty sure over like, I don't know, I forget the stat, but like 70 or 60 or 80% or something like that of UFC champions ever was wrestlers first. You know what I mean?
Background.
Like John Jones
Yeah.
wrestled in college. Daniel Cormier wrestled. Khabib didn't wrestle like in America, but he a wrestler. Henry Cejudo. All these guys are wrestlers. All the Russians.
Sound like you following the sport a little bit.
Yeah, I follow a little bit. I like UFC. It's fun to watch. You know
Right.
what I mean? But it's crazy. Me, like I'm definitely thinking about it. The only thing that can make me bag up a little is those kicks and knees, man.
Strikes.
Like I'm fine with you know, but once those kicks and knees come into place,
Right.
they change it up a little. But yeah, I don't know. It's just placing names. Kyvan Gatson from Iowa State, who also an NCAA champ,
Yeah.
he ran a gym, and he invited me a few times, and I feel like his club, like his gym and all the people in there going up and up. So I do jiu-jitsu, striking, wrestling, all that in there, and I'm definitely going to like dabble in that for after, just to see, you know. If I'm good at it, I'm going to be good at it, you know, and I think I will be. But, yeah. But back to the cars, yeah, like, even them, like, they thinking about it, but, like, Nate Carr and them, they history crazy, and then their son, David Carr, that dude, unreal. Like, he's really, really good at wrestling, and I think he's probably gonna be at the Olympics in 2028 representing. Maybe, I don't know, because I can't see the future, but he's definitely one of the best wrestlers I ever wrestled at all. You know, him. I would say my two best teammates wrestling is one in high school, which is Carter, and the other one is David. You know, those guys is levels above everybody else. You know, so.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me what is required to become an Olympian. How does that work? Do you have to try out for that team?
Yeah. So I made the U23 World Team last summer. So until the U23s come up again in like a month, I'm the first in-line World Team member. So if those is like the age group ones, but basically for the Olympics it's different because it's every 4 years. For worlds it's just you go to a qualifier, then you qualify for basically the trials. If you qualify for the trials, you can wrestle in the trials, and then you could try to take the spot. And the Olympics is kind of the same thing, but it's like first of all, the thing that makes the Olympic titles harder than world titles is to even start off, they cut half the weights out. You know.
What you mean?
So it's
weight classes.
Weight classes. It's 10 weights originally. For the Olympics, it's only 6.
Okay.
So, like, my weight class get cut out. Like, it's every other, you know? It's every other weight class get cut out, but they keep heavyweight, so it's, like, it's 6 instead.
So,
but
do you have an option to go up?
I could go up or down, you know what I mean? So, as of now, I don't know what I'll go. Those up, I do feel like I'm too small, and down, I feel like I don't know if I can make that weight and wrestle well, you know what I mean? So, but that's a future problem. So basically they cut half the weights. If you was a previous World Team member or World medalist the year before, you get like a little extra benefit to like you sit in the semifinals if you was a world medalist at a weight class, say at my weight class, where there's no weight for the Olympics, you can sit in the semifinals.
Right.
So everybody else got to wrestle it out just to wrestle you. Then say you was a world medalist at the weight that everybody competing for, you get to sit in the finals or something like that. So there's Olympic trials. So it's first like the U.S. Open, how you qualify for like Olympic trials. There's a couple different qualifiers, like an NCAA champ, you could qualify. A previous World Team member, you could qualify. Or world medalist, you qualify for the Olympic trials. And then everybody wrestle. Then if you was a medalist at a different weight last year, you sit in the semifinals. They wrestle to get to you. Then you win. And then it's best out of 3 against the previous world medalist at that weight or the other guy at the weight for the Olympic trials. And then basically whoever wins, you get the spot at the Olympics. But then what makes it even more complicated at the Olympics is you got to qualify the weight too. So it ain't every country just to say, oh, this is the Olympics, we just throwing our wrestler in there. No, you gotta go to these like world tournaments, and you don't have to be the one to qualify to weight. So like if the world champ from the previous year is in the US, the weight already qualified for us. Right. You know what I mean? So like most of the time US already got the weight qualified, but sometimes they don't. Yeah. Like sometimes you gotta go get it. You gotta win the spot, and then you gotta go right into a tournament to go qualify to weight. So things like that, you know.
What's up with the reputation that the Russians have? Are they like as tough as the United States, or explain to me?
See, so because
I hear a lot about over there.
Yeah, the Russians, they get. I feel like in wrestling, Russia, Iran, U.S., and out of nowhere, because I didn't feel this way prior to the last 2 years or a year or two, Japan got really, really good. It was weird. Like, I didn't even know one single Japan wrestler until last year. Now it's like 10 of them who, like, the best in the world. You like, what the heck? But Russia, they always been good at wrestling. And it's like, it's weird. They got a whole different style, and it's just like they technically so good, you know, and then, but at the Olympics last year, they wasn't allowed to compete, but because
something is going on in the world.
Yeah, I don't even know, all that stuff.
Okay.
So, like, they wasn't allowed to compete under Russia, but they were still letting them wrestle under, like, it was, like, ANI, so it was, like, non-associated. Them and then the Russians will go to different countries, get citizenship, and get on a team in different countries. Like in U.S., a lot of people do that for like some Mexico guys is from the U.S., grew up in the U.S., but they can
represent their country.
Yeah, they can represent their country. A lot of times it's mainly due to the reason that the U.S. team is really, really hard to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we go to Mexico. We got some guys from Siberia who wrestle. Where else? Well, a lot of different countries. So that's like the way to get in. But you still got to qualify your weight for your country, so you still got to be legit. But Russia, even without their own, like Russia being in the Olympics, if you add up like the medal count, the amount of Russians, like born Russians, they had the most like medals, like actually, but they was all for different countries at the time. You know what I mean?
So are they the dominant? Are they dominating wrestling right now?
I don't know. I feel like it's close. I feel like who doing the best right now? Maybe it's because like it's recent. U.S. is always leave or win or take second, maybe third. At the Olympics last year, we ain't do the greatest, but I was most impressed by far with Japan. And history-wise, Japan has not been the best. You know,
right.
Japan usually could be good at the lighter weights, maybe like 57 and 61, but out of nowhere they had the champ at 57, the Olympic champ, the world champ at 61, the champ at I think 65 or second place at 65.
Yeah.
There's in the finals at 70 or is the world champ at 70. So like all the way up until I think 74, they had a finalist, a world finalist, a top 2 guy in the world at their weight. So like that was good.
Incredible. Explain to me, to the best of your ability, the NIL situation. I know what it means, but how soon can an athlete just hop into the business? It's essentially merchandising, right?
Yeah.
Okay, explain.
It's complicated right now, the NIL stuff. So, like everywhere is different. Every sport is different. Every school is different with the NIL. Yeah. So, like I don't really know what like ours. I know a couple other things, but the NIL is basically like most programs got like for wrestling we got an RTC, which is like, and those could if you post something on reshare their thing, and now you eligible for their NIL. You know what I mean? Just reshare it. But they, most of the colleges, they could just control it. If you got a big donor, like colleges with big donors, like Iowa, the Hawkeyes, like they got a real big donor, and it's basically like anybody who hop in the portal, they really want them, the donor write the check for whatever they want, but I don't know what they got to do for it. It's probably something, you know, write a letter or post something. So, you know, but I don't know. It's crazy. I could tell you that.
I thought it was like a guy can, let's say a guy's great in basketball. The guy who initiated that whole NIL thing, to my knowledge, it was a basketball player named Ed O'Bannon, played for UCLA. He was one of the first guys that started complaining. But I thought it was because you had athletes living on campus who was basically in the dorm starving. You know what I'm saying? They wanted money. It was guys attending college who didn't have any money. And can a kid like put his face on a shirt, or is that how it goes?
Yeah. It could be like that. Like people hit me up all the time and they just say, "We give you 40% if we could just sell shirts with your name on it." You know what I mean? So, like, you can do that, but it's basically like I feel like the gist of it is like the school is making X amount of money off of us, and the way the rules is set up previously, you wasn't even allowed to make no money at all. Like you're not allowed to do nothing. You could post pictures of everybody. You got to do everything for free. Yeah. You know, and like at Iowa State, it's real good because we got like free food for all the athletes and free all this. You know, so we was most of us would be good already. But like how is that fair? Like I'm making millions for the school, and I'm not even allowed to think about even eating a meal with someone. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even if I'm, you know, so. I feel like the actual thing for NIL is just to like make it fair. Like I got this big name, 1 million followers, and this person want to give me a car for free if I post them. So, like, that's a fair trade. That's basically like me buying it. I'm promoting their stuff, you know? Yeah. So it's like, that's what it was kind of made for. It kind of changed now. It's basically the biggest recruiting tool now. That's what it is. It's like, it's still NIL. It's still 50% of the NIL deals is still probably coming from an outside source, but mainly it's to do with, like, all right, we want this kid. It's a big donor who donate all the time, whenever, and, you know, it's all these colleges. It's probably somebody who is multi-millionaire, got $100 million somewhere, you know what I mean? Right. That could just give it away, and it's kind of turned into, like, that's the biggest recruiting tool, you know? So it's like, these small schools kind of hate it because, like, small school built somebody up, yeah, and the guy everybody know, I'm going to hit the transfer portal, I'm going to get $150,000, or stay here and get my scholarship, and maybe 5,000, 10,000. Like, yeah, I got a family to feed. You know what I mean? So
right. Tell me what you think about the transfer portal. Me, basketball is my shit. That's my shit. And I see a guy will play a season, whatever, for a program that's not winning, and he just up and leave and go someplace else. How has that affected sports, in your opinion?
I feel like I don't think the transfer portal bad. I do think should be some restrictions on, like it used to be, you transfer, you got to sit out a year. Like, I think that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Now it's the transfer portal. You could just transfer it and transfer again, then transfer again. Like, that's crazy. I feel like maybe you could transfer once, and then if something going wrong, you could be able to transfer again. You know, I don't got nothing against, like, the transfer portal. I just feel like people trying to say that's with making sports, like, it's killing the college sports and stuff. I think, one, people say it's killing it, but more people watching it now, you know, because they're like, what the heck? I thought it was, you know. Right. But that could be happening in the portal. I feel like it should be more restrictions on it to, like, how many times you could enter the portal and stuff. But I feel like it favors the athletes, but probably don't favor the fans as much, you know. Mm-hmm. It favors the athletes because it's like, if things not working out for me, I go elsewhere. I do think the combination of the transfer portal and the NIL together spiked it so much. I think either one of them would have been good, really good so the NIL benefits the athletes a lot. It's really good for us, and it don't hurt the program whatsoever. The transfer portal, if things not working out for me, I know I need to go to a different school to be successful. Like, I could do that, you know? It won't hurt the school at all, you know what I mean? If I feel like I'm, you know, and I feel like with those both together, that makes the transfer portal open to go. NIL is endless opportunity always. Right. You know what I mean? So if you good, you know for a fact, or you don't even gotta, most of the time, people already know where they going, because it's like, all right, I know this school need me that, and I know they got a lot of money. Right. Hit the portal, they out of the portal in 2 days. They probably already somebody backdoored it or talked it through already, you know what I mean? But, like, that's just the world we live in now, you know. And for the coaches, they got to play the game or you're going to fall behind. So It's like, I wouldn't say it's super bad, but both of them together definitely spike transferring all the time. And transferring not a good thing whatsoever, but I don't think you should get a whole year taken away for transferring once. But I feel like it'd be better if there was some more restrictions on it. Like, you can transfer once, and then the second time, then something come through, or the second time you need a legit reason, or the second time you need to make sure your coaches can release it, right, or something like that. But anybody know these things is turning to, like, the pros right now. It's like, this is closest to the pros you're gonna get, especially for my sport, wrestling. Like, folk style wrestling is this. Once you get to D1 college, it's the highest you could possibly be. You know what I mean? It's the peak of the sport. So this the pros already. You can do everything, but not get, you can, at least you won't get traded. Yeah. That's the only thing they missing right now. You know, it's like every year is like a free agency. You can either hit the portal or tell this coach to pay me more. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's definitely crazy. And I won't say if it's good or bad for the sport, because, like, it's good for the athletes at least, because at least I feel like I got an option, and it's like, you know how much people commit to these schools, and they like, now the school allowed to recruit whoever they want over me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say no, you can't do that, but I can't leave. You know,
Yeah.
That's how it be. So it's like I see other people's point of view. It's kind of just turned into like, it's more power to the athlete, and it's like you can leave. It's crazy, you know. And the thing is, like everything, people gonna find a way to exploit anything. You know what I mean? It's always a positive and a negative. When it first came to the idea, it's all positive. That's all they were thinking about. They didn't think about the negative. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's just how it is. A positive and a negative to almost everything.
No doubt. Is there a lot more pins? I'm asking you this question based on the discussion I had with Russ. Is pins more common in high school than it is in college?
A lot more. I feel like pins are more common in anything where it's easier. Like it's more common. Like
yeah. So it ain't no walk in the park pinning no D1 athlete. That's basically what you're saying.
It is hard to pin, especially just D1 starters. It's hard. Yeah. Like last year, the person who won most pin award on our team, he had like 6 or 7 pins, and that's a lot. You know what I mean? So it's hard. Some people, they get crafty and they learn that's how they style of wrestling is. You know, they get really good on top, and everybody different styles, but it's definitely hard for me at least. And most people on our team, which is like a really good team, is like maybe 4 pins at the max. Yeah. Maybe the person who had the most maybe had 6 or 7. I don't know, but like it's pretty hard. And in high school, it's like trying to pin him, he might get teched instead, but like I'm trying to pin him. Yeah. You know, so it's things like that.
What would you say your style is? I was watching a highlight of you. I think this is probably towards the end of the season, and you had this like chest-to-chest slam up close on the guy. I know you know the one I'm talking about. It was brutal, unless you do that all the time. But what would you say your style was? It wasn't no duck under. It was just boom. What would you say your style was, though?
I'm trying to change my style a bit. I feel like I'm a really, really, really good counter wrestler too. Yeah. But I got that. I'm explosive and fast. That's obvious, like, you know. And but my style is just like nothing will be easy. Nothing will be easy when you wrestle me. And if at any point ever the other guy come out of position, it's like I attack like a snake. You know, somebody fakes you too deep, I snag their leg. Yeah. And you know, and I'm strong, so if somebody come up open chest, I boom, pancake. You know, I want to get back to like what you were saying. I feel like I used to come way more explosion, like slams and pick up, and you know, I used to do that even more. This year, I feel like I dialed back from that a little bit, and I wish I didn't. Because those, when you finish like that, there's no way to defend it. But I should say my style is just, I want to change a little bit, but like once the window of opportunity open, I strike fast. You know what I mean? And I shoot double legs, and if you're facing away, too bad. I'm running through it. Oof. Right. You know, so I'm like I feel like it's kind of like a snake when I wrestle. You know, I wrestle for the Vipers. It's like boom, I strike fast, but it's real powerful and stuff too. You know, and I'm trying to get even more aggressive. Like I throw hard clubs a lot, and I shoot singles. I just got to be more like. Sometimes I get stuck on focusing on the same move. You know, especially if it work once, then keep trying to hit it. Now it get hard. You know, so things like that. I feel like. A lot of guys be intimidated a little bit, so I gotta focus on scoring early more, take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But strong, fast, and real. I'm pretty tactical too. You know, so it's just like window of opportunity open, I take it.
Right. If you got a guy who's a problem, you can detect whether somebody's a problem into the match, whether a guy's going to be a problem or not. And the coin flip, and they do the coin flip. Top or bottom? What do you choose?
I've been practicing a lot on top, but I'm pretty decent on bottom. But the bottom was was my last match. Was like the thing that cost me a lot. You know, I couldn't get off the bottom, but throughout the year, I always get off the bottom. Usually, you know, 95%. Like I'm gonna be out in the next 10 seconds. 95% chance at least. You know what I mean? So like I'm good on bottom. On top, it's hard for me to turn people, but I got better at riding. You know, like I was
because you short.
Yeah, I could say that, but I don't know. There's some short people who get on top, but usually tall people better, you know. But like I was in some ride outs, and you know I win some, I lose some. If this is my choice, top bottom, my choice is neutral. That's what I like. You know, I feel like on my feet is where I'm best. So I got good attacks, and it's real hard to take me down.
Right. You're a 2-time Big 12 champion.
Yep.
Tell me what went into that, and what was the your record after the 2 titles?
My first Big 12 title, there's a lot. That season, I had a good season. I started off real good, then I kind of went in a slump, and it was rocky. But going to the tournament was the 3rd seed, but like I knew I was the best in the bracket. The guy who was the 1 seed, the Missouri guy who picked me, he was the 1 seed, and boom, I go through the tournament, I win, pancake him at the end. And it was big, you know. For me, it was big celebration. But it was kind of just like gotta focus. And the whole time I was thinking, I gotta even score more. And then a lot went into that. But that season was going on and off. But I was always ranked high because my first college match, I wrestled the number 2 guy in the country, and I beat him. You know what I mean? So it was like. It was high expectations for the start. And then last year it was like I was undefeated at the weight the whole year, but I wrestled 3 different weight classes because like me, I was like, no weight classes in the jungle, you know, you put somebody in front of me, I'm gonna wrestle them, you know what I mean? But once I got down to 149, which was January, I was undefeated at the weight all the way up until like 2 weeks before Big 12s or 3 weeks before Big 12s, I wrestled the UNI guy. He beat me in overtime. I took him down twice. He got all his points. He got no offensive points. He got all stall calls. So basically the ref just saying, like, I'm avoiding wrestling. That's what the ref is seeing and what he thinks.
From a neutral position?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we on our feet. Yeah. He trying to take me down. It's 30 seconds left, so I'm like, all right, I'm winning, so why would I shoot to give him a chance to get a takedown, you know? So
and they penalize you for that?
The way they did me, they usually don't do it that bad, but yeah, it's stalling, which means you avoiding wrestling. And then the last one, I never seen it get hit in 10 seconds. That was crazy. There was 10 seconds left. When I come to the middle, the ref say, if you get hit with stalling, it's 2 points. I look at the ref like, what? You worry about the match, you know? And boom, the dude come, boom, I'm defending. He just lunge at me out of balance. And I like move him out the way, but I step out because he just dived at me. You know what I mean? Like if I don't move, he gonna get my legs. Yeah. So the only way to defend it is put my head down. Boom. He tried to shoot. No takedown. Clock hit 0. Boom. After the clock hit 0, the ref look, point, boom, stalling right at the end. And I'm like, what? And we challenge it and all. And we lose the challenge and it go overtime and. Yeah. Kind of let all the other stuff play into this, and then I'm like dead tired, and I give up a takedown. But boom, then we go into the Big 12 tournament. Once again, I was a 2 seed this time, but I was ranked 6th in the country, 2 seed in the bracket in the Big 12, and then when we go through the tournament, first match was a barn burner with somebody I supposed to kill. Yeah. You know, but end up my worst position top is that's how I won the match. I rode the dude out the whole period. He couldn't get out. The next match was the guy beat from Missouri the week before, and I'm losing. Like I'm fighting for my life, losing. Then I just get activated. Poof, take him down. Poof, take him down. Go to overtime, win. Then the next match was probably the best guy I had to wrestle out of them, and for some reason. It was the easiest match for me. You know what I mean? Crazy, right? He was the best guy wrestled the whole day. It was the easiest match for me. I just boom, took him down, you know? And that's probably due to the fact, like I said, when I'm more prepared, more thinking like, all right, I got to be for real. I just do better. And I try to change it as best I can, but it's hard.
Right.
Then the final match was like this the get back match again. It was crazy. It was like deja vu, the same exact scenario as the 2 years before, and it's just this one was more dramatic because I was losing the whole match. The whole match I'm losing, and then I'm looking around like I need a takedown. What was the score? It was like I think it was 5-3.
Yeah.
So I need to take down 3 points. I need to take down, and legit with like I'm chasing this dude down third period. Get to like 30 seconds. So when it hit 20 seconds, it'll hit like 31 seconds. We go out of bounds. 20 seconds. Boom, boom, fake shot. Boom, fake shot. Fake shot. Boom. Finally gets leg. Take him down. 20 seconds left. I gotta ride him out to win. Ride him out. Stayed on top. And that one was crazy. It was buzzer beater. I'm flexing.
Yeah.
And like a lot went into that, a lot of training, and even then I felt like I could have did better, you know what I mean? Because like I should have been beating that dude worse, but that dude was a good wrestler, you know. So
Right. Do y'all have national rankings as a team like in college football? You had the top 25, the AP top 25.
Yeah.
Do they do the same thing for wrestling?
yeah,
What was y'all Iowa State's ranking?
we was
season?
the highest we were this past season. I think we was like the highest was probably 6, I think, but the past season, like everybody got hurt, you know. Like I changed weights twice because people was getting hurt, and that was the best for the team. It's like Paniro, Ari, you know, you ain't cut much weight, you go down. You know what I mean? So like people was getting hurt all through our lineup, and it's like that's why this year I feel like we about to be really, really good. We're gonna have everybody back.
Yeah.
A couple guys transferred out who was real important to our team, but like our team was so deep already. It's like we should be fine. But I bet next year we guarantee. I feel like we're gonna be in the top 5. You know what I mean? Because our team's deep right now and we're good. But
Do y'all have a rival?
The Big 12 teams is probably we go real close with Okie State all the time. That's probably one of the biggest ones. Okie State and Iowa, obviously, that's the biggest duel of the year every year. That duel is insane. I wrestled in 2 Cy-Hawk duels, and we lost both, but I won I won my match in both of them, and both times I was the underdog. You know, you know I don't lose when I'm the underdog. Last year I was wrestling #1 guy in the country in the Cy-Hawk duel, and it was the weight above me.
Yeah.
And like halfway through the match, I was winning, I think 1-0, and then he tried to get an escape, and I like threw his leg up. He like pulled his hamstring, and then he tried to keep wrestling. I take him down, boom, and then they end up he just was like, all right, I can't finish the match, you know. And
Right.
I won that. Then the first time I wrestled in a Cy-Hawk duel was crazy too. It was overtime. Dude was trying to go to ride outs because especially freshmen as a whole is usually not as good as on top and bottom.
Right.
You know, so he was trying to get it to go to ride outs, and I'm spam shooting like I'm going after him. Boom, get a takedown. There's like 3 seconds left. Boom, limp pouring my arm out, get the takedown at the buzzer. Get the takedown. That was crazy. But our biggest rival probably Iowa. You know,
Okay.
but
I got 2 more questions. One question is I want to know what is your relationship like with Carter Starocci, and how important was it to see him complete that mission this year?
I got a really, really good relationship with Carter, and you know, me and Carter, I've been on a team with Carter since my first practice ever. He was there. He was in the same room as me, my first practice, and coming up, I always was like, I was kind of chasing him. He was good, like goal for me, you know, because he was winning a state title and 8 and under. And I was like, I want to win a state title. Then he'll win. I'm like, all right, now I gotta win when he's 10 and under. He'll win. Now I gotta win, you know, all the way up until high school, and then Carter was always good. What made him as good as he is, though, I know he's strong, fast, and good, and all this, but everybody even know. You don't got to be close to him to know, like, his best asset is his mind. You know what I mean? He got a real killer mindset, and even when he talked to me, like, he texts me all the time. He call me all the time. I call him all the time. Celebrate with him on his 5th national title and stuff. But me and Carter real close. I would say, like, especially in high school, he wasn't always the nicest guy. I could tell you that much, you know. But
Right.
he grew up in college, and he even better now. And he was always, I don't know how he was with everybody else, but he was always real good with me.
Right.
You know, so I love that dude. He is a big role model, not for just me, but for like anybody who in wrestling. You know what I mean? He built a big name for himself,
Yeah.
and we always been close. I feel like the last couple years I've been way closer with him than I was even in high school. Even when he was on my team, I feel like now we way closer than I was with him when he was on my team. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I feel like another thing, and that's probably why, because he was so good, because especially in a sport like wrestling, it's an individual sport, and in individual sports, something that can make you a lot better is if you selfish, you know what I mean? And he was always that. And I always watch him. Like, he ain't good on accident. He ain't the best because he's the strongest. He ain't the best because he the fastest. It's his mind and his work ethic was always crazy. Even when I was in high school, he'd stay after every single practice and just keep wrestling. And I was like, that dude always worked the hardest in the room. And then even I remember when he first got to Penn State, I was still in high school, I heard like the story there was like, they had to tell him like, you done. You can't be practicing no more. Like, you did enough, dude. You know what I mean? So like, that dude, he go. So yeah, it's real important to me. He talked to me all the time. He helped me. He definitely helped me, and he want the best for me, you know. So I appreciate him for that, and I want the best for him. I feel like he might go to the UFC if he plan on it. I think he'd be good.
That's what's up. Shout out to him. Last question. What are some of your goals for this upcoming season, man? Run it by me.
First, my main goal, obviously, to win the NCAA title, but I kind of got to focus on the things that's going to get me there, you know. It's easy to see the finish line from looking far in, but it's hard. You got to look at every step, you know. When you run in a race, every step matter, you know. So the easy things that I know going to happen, but it's still real important I got to focus on is, first I got to figure out for sure what weight I'm going. That's my goal, figure it out. Then I got to figure out, then I got to make secure my spot, start, you know, win the wrestle off. That's something I always do, I'm going to do, but just got to take every step to make sure you get it right. Win the first competition, and then keep winning every competition, win the Big 12 title, you know. But, like, main goal, win an NCAA title. But there's not much to talk about, you know. You just got to train hard, and at the end of the day, you got to make sure you outworking everybody else. That's the only way you get the best chance you could get. You know, my coach said a lot. He say, we do all this working and all this to guarantee nothing. All this just for the chance to compete. You know what I mean? So just be thankful, and I want to win. I want to win the NCAA title. I want to go undefeated, and I want to score more. That's a big goal for me, just score more in all my matches. You know, I win a lot. I got a real high win percentage, but I want a high bonus point percentage, you know, so things like that.
No doubt.
What up? Heard the voice, saw the face, made the choice. Young Money Militia Gang Zone, Corey Guns, and you watching the dribble. Gully TV, let's get it.